Welcome to Prince Shorthand House. Exercise number 139, Sir Happy Singh. 100 words a minute. Ready? Start. Mr. Chairman, not long ago in this house, when we were discussing the budget proposals, we considered various monetary and fiscal problems which face our country. We tried to consider several measures to inaugurate and intensify our struggle and our attack on poverty and inequality. In this debate, speaking for myself, I have not the slightest intention of venturing into the dizzy heights of macroeconomic which my esteemed colleague Dr. Rao has touched. I will merely confine my observations to fiscal legislation connected with direct taxation with special reference to the enactment under contemplation in the Finance Bill 1972. I also consider this the opportune time when honorable members can make their comments on the Vanchu Commission report, because this is the most important document presently before the Finance Ministry for its implementation, and it deals with an extremely important and delicate matter, namely tax evasion and tax avoidance, a malaise scourge which seems to have proliferated extensively into every walk of Indian society. While honorable members will do well to make their commitments, I only hope they would not confine themselves to doing what my honorable friend did by merely narrating some figures and to criticize the government. The members would do well to make some constructive suggestions and give some guidance to the finance minister as to how best he could implement some of the recommendations so that we may effectively be able to incorporate those recommendations in the statute book and he able to arrest some degree tax evasion and tax avoidance. The Finance Bill 1972 has made significant departure for which the finance minister has come in for a very scathing indictment, namely that the rate structure of the direct taxes has kept untouched and untinkered except for a minor change by which the struggle surcharge is increased from 2.5 to 5%. Also, there are some structural changes in the law of direct taxes contemplated in the finance bill. I should like to deal with some of the important changes a little later, but now I should like to deal with this scathing criticism which has been flaunted on the finance minister for his having left direct taxes untouched and untinkered. If I may analyze it, the gravamen of the charge against him leveled by the leftist parties was that while he raised massive amounts by way of indirect taxes, he has almost pandered to the wishes and dictates of the money bags by not raising the direct taxes. Particularly, Shri Gupta was extremely vocal at the time of his budget speech and asked, why did you not raise the rates of tax on the corporate sector? I submit this criticism is extremely uncharitable and completely disregards the distinguished harsh realities of the Indian economy which existed in the period just preceding the budget. At the outset, I wish to make it absolutely clear that I am in entire agreement with Shri Gupta when he says that there is still scope for enhancement of tax rate so far as the corporate sector is concerned. At the same time, it has also to be stated that no one possessed of his rational faculties and who understands tax laws would ever suggest that direct taxation of the non-corporate sector has any scope for enhancement, a sector where the highest marginal rate of taxation is 97%. Therefore, the charge ultimately is reduced to this, that the rate of taxation of the corporate sector has not been increased. Yes, there is a scope, notwithstanding the perennial lament by the vested interests that the corporate sector is overburdened with direct taxes and that it has adversely affected industrial growth. I do not for a moment believe that. I do concede that there is a scope for enhancement of taxes on corporate sector. The only question I would like to ask is whether, in view of the disquieting position in the growth of industrial production in the pre-budget months, whether this was the right time for Sri Chavan to increase the rate of taxes on the corporate sector. I think he has done very well in desisting from the same. He has given what call an extremely inexpensive fiscal stimulus and incentive to boost industrial production, and I must congratulate that his inexpensive incentive have paid dividends to him. In the preceding 2 months, there has been a marked improvement in the industrial production of the country. I have called it an inexpensive stimulate because such fiscal stimulus and incentives are sometimes given by giving out massive concessions, as they have been given recently in the United Kingdom. The Chancellor of the Exchequer there has announced the slashing of taxes to an extent of 1.2 million sterling. He had frankly conceded that the people are complaining that the taxes are too heavy to leave any incentive for hard work. If one were to see the structural changes, there are a few important structural changes contemplated in the direct tax law. The first one is inclusion for taxation of casual gains, windfalls, and subjecting them to a change of income tax. Stop.